Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me this morning. Whether you're watching live, it's 10:01 on Thursday, July 23rd. Whether you're watching live or you are watching the recorded version, I'm happy that you are taking the time to join me. In less than a half hour, I'm going to talk about curating content to support learners. And by learners, of course, number one, I mean students, but I also mean like your colleagues, the families that you are involving in education, and any other person that could stand to learn something or be able to digest some content that matters. So, in case you're unfamiliar with how the summer program is working, I think like 95% of our online learning opportunities are being recorded. I've been getting a ton of emails about this, so I'm just going to throw it out there at the very beginning of this. If you go to our main doc, tinyurl.com/virtual PD20, you will be taken to this hyperdoc, which gives you a link to register and gives you a full calendar and session descriptions. Some PD certs we're able to send like immediately, but just keep in mind that of course, I'm here and I'm juggling a lot of stuff, but a lot of teachers who are home with their kids or they're doing other jobs and helping out with doing presentations, like they might not be able to send it right that second. So we said we'll send PD certs by September 1st. So just keep that in mind. Like if you don't get one within 24 hours, it might not be the end of the world. Yeah. And then also, if you would like a PD cert for something that you attended and you didn't attend it live, you have to make sure when you look at these session descriptions, like here's one with Christina Messina. After watching this recording, please complete this form to receive your PD cert. So you have to click the form and answer the questions to confirm that you participated. And then each presenter has access to their own forms and they send certs from there. It all says my email, but truly everyone's responsible for their own. So yeah, I hope that helps you out a little bit because I know there's some confusion. We've got a lot more left this summer. It's only July 23rd. We still have an entire month of August, and then we're going to be adding more just based on any final plans. So we'll see what happens. With that being said, I'm going to dive right in. And now you've seen me, you know who I am. I will ask you at some point if you're an MPS staff member and you'd like a PD cert for this, could you please just type your first and last name in the chat right now? And I'll make sure to send a PD cert today. Just keep in mind, only the people watching live should be typing their names into the chat. Do not type it a week from now because I don't check the chat. I'm only going to check the live chat. All right, so let's get started. All right, so you're here for curating content to support learners. Oops, sorry. You definitely don't want to hear my voice. You are here to learn about curating content to support learners. And one of my favorite tools for that is Wakelet. So if you're unfamiliar with Wakelet, it's a way to kind of organize online information. You can pull a bunch of links together. You can pull things from your drive and kind of create one page of information. I'm going to get to Wakelet in a second. And I'm also going to show you guys a few other options for curating content, because one of the best things we can do when especially if we're moving to online learning or hybrid learning, is let people know what's expected right off the gate. With you guys, with PD, we try to tell our adult learners, like, here's what's expected, here's how you're going to learn, here's what you're going to learn, here's why you're going to learn. We try to give you that information. We should probably do the same for our parents and especially our students. So I've seen other ways people curate content, and I just want to share a couple too before I go into Wakelet, which is an amazing tool, and I hope you all sign up. It's free. So here's an example. Well, where is the example? I asked, a teacher shared this with me, and I asked her if I could show you guys. And where did I put it? Let me find it. I'm sorry. I asked her if I could show you guys because at the beginning of our school closures, she started curating content via Google Docs. So she was making like a hyperdoc. So here's her example. It's a teacher from Rick Avenue, Mrs. Bartholomew. And this is back in March, but you can see she put together this hyperdoc and she laid out exactly what's expected. So she said, check in. Here's what you have to do for reading. And she gives them links. So they have to vote for a book, read a book, fill out a form. and every single subject is broken down with links, and she tells them exactly what to do and then gives them some extras if they need some extra activities. So that's one example. I've also seen people do it in docs. Like here's a template that I found for, slides. Here's a template that I found for slides. And the idea would be a student would come in, and if it was Monday, they would click on the word Monday, which would bring them here. And then depending on the subject area or the teacher, their Monday activities would be located here. So maybe it would say like lesson 1, watch this video on Edpuzzle and take the short quiz. Lesson 2, join our live Google Meet at 1 p.m. I'm not really sure what that would entail, but depending on the subject area, it could be anything at all. So again, these are 2 ways people curate content: by creating hyperdocs in Google Docs or hyperslides in Google Slides. There are many ways to curate content. And now I'm going to show you one of my favorite tools, which is called Wakelet. If you go to wakelet.com, I recommend you log on using your MPS Google account if you're an MPS staff member. So your first name, last name at mps.millville.org. And then what you can do is you can create collections of online content. And I'm going to show you an example. So in the chat, can any teacher in the chat or any person in the chat, can you guys just throw out a subject that you would cover in September? Like name a lesson you would teach or a specific subject, like a topic that you would teach about. Okay, if I don't see any, I'm just going to make one up, and usually it's dolphins and gorillas. All right, so no one's giving me any suggestions. That's fine, no big deal. Let me mix it up for my typical animal topic. I'll do, let's do scientific method. I'm not sure why that's the first thing that came to my head. So, because I tried to do it earlier. So here's scientific method here. I type it in at the search bar, and I'm going to click search. And here are some examples from what other people have done, because I want to show you how they're building their collections. So I can kind of preview, here's what it's called, and here's the items. So this person says scientific method day 2, choice day. I'm assuming this person's probably a teacher, and this is probably part of her remote learning experience. So let me click on it and let's preview it. So here's what it looks like. I can follow this person if I like her content. She gives her instructions. Scientific method day 2, choice day. Choose from videos, text, and quizzes for your favorite way to learn about scientific method. So she gives them an article, a video. So this is not, this is just optional stuff. Let's check out this one. So again, people are giving links. So they've just pulled links together, which is great. That's perfectly fine. Now, these people, I'm obviously haven't gone through them all, but these people seem to have just pulled links together, which is great, of all these resources to share with their learners. But you can also add things like assessments in there. You can share docs and more. So let me show you. So here's an example of one I put together in April. Well, actually, I think I put this together in March, and we planned on sharing it in April, and then the world flipped upside down. So here is Anytime PD at MPS. And then with this, I actually linked pages directly from Google for people to print. And then I also shared tutorial videos. So you'll notice a couple things as I showed you guys, like 3 different types of Wakelets. Like the designs are very different. So some people have things on the sides, some people have headers, even the layout. Remember, the one person had links crossed horizontally. This looks like a list. I'm going to show you how to do all that. What's really cool is you can also invite contributors. So I can say, you know what? I'm not the only person who needs to work on this. I need to invite somebody else. So I can copy this link and I can email it to whoever I want to collaborate with me, or they can just scan this QR code to collaborate. I can also go by and adding them with their name. So I can say, oh, I'm looking for Justin Dodge. He's not on Wakelet yet because I don't know why he's not on. I'm gonna add him. I'm gonna invite him via email to get him on here, and then I can manage. So once Justin accepts my invitation, I can delete him. Maybe I fired him from our Wakelet collaboration. So let me talk about creating a Wakelet so you can see how easy it is. So when I'm ready to create a collection, because that's what it's called, a collection, I can click on this box that says Create New Collection. So from here, the first thing you're probably going to be drawn to is adding a cover image. You don't have to, that's totally optional, but if you click add a cover image, you can upload your own. So maybe you have, I know Bitmoji classrooms are the big thing right now. Maybe you wanted to add your little Bitmoji classroom. Keep in mind it wouldn't be like hyperlinked, or you can choose from a library, and these are things that you're able to just pull from. So let's say I'm going to make a Wakelet about oh, maybe I should have thought this through. Maybe I'm going to make a Wakelet about who's a famous. Oh, let's do Ida B. Wells. I wonder actually if there's a picture of her. I don't know why that's the first name that came to my mind. Okay, looks like there's no picture of her. So maybe I could upload my own, or I can just get an historic looking picture. Let's pretend I like this one. So I clicked on it, and now I have this giant picture. I can also change it to just be half the cover image, or I can say, you know what, hide the cover image. I didn't find a good picture. I'm going to say forget about it. I can also edit the image, so I can reposition it. I can remove it, which is what I'm going to do since I didn't even love it. And then we can add a title for our collection. So I can say Ida B. Wells, and I can write a description. Today, you're going to learn about the contributions. Oops. Please check out the content and take the short assessment. Okay, so I have my title, I have my description, and then you'll notice that it looks very limiting because there's not a bunch of buttons and stuff, because everything you need is just right here. This little circle with a plus sign, I can click on it. And these are all the different things I can add. So I can pull things directly from Flipgrid if you're using Flipgrid. If you don't know what Flipgrid is, I totally recommend using it. And Ashley Bartholomew did she already did one great workshop, and she's doing another one in August, which you'll love. You can pull things from OneDrive, or in this case, Google Drive, which is what I prefer. Upload a PDF. And the reason I prefer this is just because everything's already there. I don't like to do extra work. And if you use your Google account, it's already linked. I can also add an image. So maybe I made a really great, I don't know, maybe I drew a great picture of this person, or maybe I actually listed out what they have to do today. I can add bookmarks, tweets. So for example, if I searched for a hashtag Ida B. Wells, I'm not sure if that's a thing. If it is, I could pull all of those tweets with that hashtag there. I can insert things directly from YouTube, add text, and again, just paste a URL, which would be just any link. So let's go and let's get a YouTube video. Let me search. Okay, so let's say that I wanted to add this video. I already previewed it. It's excellent. I want to add it. I'm going to click on it, and notice how I can click on more than one too. But I'm just going to keep it one for now. And I'm going to click add. And now this video is here. And let's say I wanted to add a link. Let me go out and pull a link. And again, I'm not taking the time to go through all of this, which of course I recommend you do. I'm just showing you how to physically put it together. So I'm going to click this plus sign again. And now I'm going to paste the URL to add the link. And here's my link. So now that I've got some content on my Wakelet, you'll notice that a couple different options came up. The first one is change layout. So if I click this little drop down arrow, I can change the way that the objects on my page are displayed. Do I want it to be media view, which is what it defaults to? It kind of looks like these big rectangles. Do I want to change it and make it compact view? So you'll see that just kind of shortens it, makes them a little bit smaller. Grid view would give it like squares. And then mood board reminds me of like a Pinterest kind of situation. So again, that's completely up to you, however you decide to do it. And then there's a couple ways to move things. I can either use these arrows over on the side to move them up and down and all around, or I can click this little circle and turn it on. So then I can just click and drag to reorder. That's just a personal preference. If you mouse over something, like put your cursor on one of the items, you can either trash it or this pencil comes up for editing. If I click edit, I can give like specific instructions. So read this article. And remember one interesting fact. So now that's what the text says instead. If I didn't want to do it that way though, remember I showed you guys if you click the plus sign, you can just simply add text and say, read the article. Notice how you can add links here and adjust your text settings, do bullet points. So actually maybe I wanted to say, read the article, watch the video, take the quiz. So now I'm laying out exactly what I expect from them. And then again, I can come here, and if I made a Google form or some other kind of tool to assess, like maybe I just had them create a slide or something like that, I could pull something directly from Google Drive to let them create that. Or maybe I want to say, go to the Google Classroom and do it. Or I could paste a URL to my Google form. This is really just a matter of preference. So I've got my couple little items here. I've got my title. In the upper left-hand corner, this little settings icon, this is where I can add my background image. So you can upload your image or you can choose it from your library. So there was no great pictures last time. Maybe I can be a little bit more specific. No, I don't think these are great. Okay, I don't know that I'm going to get a good picture for this specific topic, but maybe that would be one that, all right, this is not a great background, but let's just pretend it's life-changing. Actually, why don't I show you how to upload your own cover image? Let's go get a picture of her. So let's say I'm going to use this picture. I did a Google image search. I'm going to right-click on the picture and save image as. Actually, if we wanted to do it the right way, which is probably what I should be doing, you could search for the picture that you want on the word images. So now we're doing Google image search. And if I come to settings and I can go to advanced search, from here I can say free to use or share. And now I can do an advanced search that way. So here's a couple pictures that are free to use and share. Let's say I'm going to use this one. I'm going to right click on the picture and I'll save it. I'll just save it to my desktop because I'm going to delete it once I upload it. So now in my Wakelet, I'm going to add a cover image. I'll upload that image. I can say, do I want to zoom in, out? I can reposition if I need to and then save it. Oh, I forgot that I changed it. Let me go back to full cover image. So this is how it will appear. In the upper right-hand corner, every Wakelet you create is automatically set to private. So that means only you would be able to view it. If I click this little drop-down menu, I can change it to unlisted. So only people that I give the link to will be able to see it. That's what I'll change it to because obviously this is not something I spend a lot of time on. And then I can just click done when I'm done editing. So once you're done editing though, nothing is permanent. You can always change things later, but just to give you an idea of what it looks like, it will look like this for people. So there's no editing options. They would just click on the different links and be able to go through this entire thing. So again, I told you, you can click on invite to add a collaborator. You can also go to share your Wakelet directly to your classroom or Twitter or wherever else you might be sharing things. You can grab a QR code to share, or you can just copy your link and paste it into your classroom, your website, whatever you have. You can also export it as a PDF. So I've seen some people use this for like their weekly or monthly newsletters. They pull things together. And if I click export as PDF, it really does download it as a PDF. which you'll see, of course, I shouldn't have done this now because there is a little wait. So it'll download it as a PDF. I gave the example of an actual lesson. Here's what it looks like. I gave the example of this. Obviously doesn't make sense as a PDF, but I gave the example of an actual lesson. But one thing that I did see was a school district that did this like kind of as like a how do I say this? Like a post-event wrap-up. And I guess it was, I want to say graduation, but they had like a graduation hashtag. And when they pulled the items from Twitter, they used their hashtag and they actually posted tweets in there. So it was like, it pulled it all together, and then they downloaded it as a PDF and then mailed it to the parents. Yeah, so this is Wakelet. I'm going to click on this little Wakelet logo to take me back to like my home page. So from here over on the left, I'm only following 2 people and only 1 person is following me. So shocking. Here are my collections. I have 5 so far. Here are my bookmarks, so things I've saved. And then I have 1 group collection, which this would be anything that you collaborated on. So if I click on group collection, you'll see in a second, one will pop up right here. I think my internet connection might not be great. There it is. So here's one collection that I'm a collaborator on. And then I can join other collections based on if people share them with me or not. And then, of course, up here under search, this is where you can search for topics. So if you want to see examples, maybe you want to say elementary Spanish. So here are some Wakelets that people have created that are dedicated to elementary Spanish. So let's just click on one to see what it looks like. Okay, so they've just added some links, graphic organizers, games. So they've pulled some stuff together. You can get as specific as you want, and you can get creative with how you use it, of course. If you go to Wakelet, they have an excellent community where you can collaborate with others, and they also have a ton of free PD for you. So feel free to check them out as well. Again, when you go to wakelet.com, join using your MPS Google account. It is free, and you can ride that Wakelet wave. So before I wrap up, because I do have a few more minutes, since we're talking about curating content, another place I go a lot to curate that content is simply YouTube, which is actually how you're watching this video right now. So I talk about adding playlists and stuff to YouTube because there's so much content already out there. You really don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's especially as an educator, it's really helpful if you just kind of funnel it down for the kids and let them take it down even further. So let's say that I am going to keep up with Ida B. Wells. And I'm going to say, I'm going to add this to a playlist because it's something I want my students to watch. So if I click on a video, I can click save, and then I can create a new playlist. And maybe these are videos I want them to watch next week. So what is next week? The week of July 27th. Week of 7/27. I'm going to make it unlisted because I actually do have a couple followers on YouTube. So I want this to be week of 7/27. I could, of course, named it after the topic, but maybe I have some videos that that want them to watch specifically this week based on what we're learning. Maybe this is the second one. I'm going to go to save, and then I can add it. Oh, did I not make that playlist? Oh, here it is. Week of 7/27. So I can add these videos and I can say, if you need extra help on a topic, or if you want to preview what we're learning next week, watch this playlist. And then when I click these 3 little bars, I can click on the name of my playlist here. So here's the playlist I was creating, and I can share it with my students, copy it, paste it into my Google Classroom, or embed it into my teacher website. I can also add collaborators. Maybe I want everybody to go out and find me a biography video of a famous woman in the last century, or I don't know, something like that. Maybe it's a collaborative effort, but YouTube is another example of how we can curate digital content to support learning. And now I specifically chose this example of a person, but in reality, I like to talk about myself. Well, that sounds funny. In reality, I like to talk about my own weaknesses when I talk about curating online content, because when I went to school, one of the things that I really struggled with was math. So if Bobby Barber is watching, I'm sorry. But I struggled with math. And I always tested really well in math, but I think that I had a hard time paying attention in school. I found school very boring. I would do a lot of doodling. I still do that. And I would come home and I would have my giant math textbook and look at the book and not know what to do with it. So I often think like if as a student I had something like YouTube, I'm sure that would have helped me. Or like I think about our parents. And one of the things, and like this is work, especially going through this content for the first time, it's work. But I think about like our parents, for example, and like the people who are going home and they're helping their kids with long division, especially because like the way we do math somehow changed. I didn't know math could change, but it did somehow change. Like, wouldn't it be helpful if we could say, hey, today, this is what you're learning. You can post a video of yourself doing it, or you can go out to the web and grab something else. And since we know that people have different learning styles, and I'm just going to say it, and this might be controversial, but I work in ed tech and I don't even love online learning. I mean, I'm sick of the screen. Unfortunately, this is the situation we're in right now. But what could be helpful moving forward in the fall and beyond would be maybe if a parent or a student needed help with long division, for example, you had a couple tutorial videos, one fast-paced, one slow-paced, and maybe you even wrote it out. Like you could curate that content all together in a Wakelet, in a HyperDoc, in a HyperSlide. You could have it all in one place, and then people would be able to kind of a la carte help themselves since we've already curated the content for them. So I am watching the chat right now. If anybody has any questions about Wakelet, HyperDocs, HyperSlides, or anything else, or YouTube about curating content online to support learning. And if you do, you also know where to reach me. As you can see, I'm at school right now. It's very exciting. Actually, I will say, if this puts anybody at ease, I'm watching Gloria from IT scrub the Chromebooks. Like they're getting the cleaning of their lifetime. More than I think I've ever cleaned anything I own. So very thorough. Well, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to go through and is this kind of the same as Google Sites? Wakelet? No. Google Sites is like a website builder. You could probably use it for the same things, but Wakelet could be something that you use like a Google site, Kara. That's a really good comparison, except for a lot of people make it interactive with lessons. So like I know I showed you the example of one person had it just for one day. Somebody had it for 2 days. I think it just depends what you want to do with it, but you could kind of use it for the same thing. And I find it very easy to use. All right, well, guys, thank you for being here. I'll send those PD certs over shortly, and I will see you guys soon. I hope you're safe and healthy and trying to relax as much as you can.